Pacman. Everyone knows this guy. Go anywhere in the world, ask someone, who's this? And 99 times out of 100, they'll get it right. The classic game that everyone knows about came out in 1980 and was a smash hit, and is one of the most successful games ever made. Its sequel, Miss Pac-Man, did pretty good too, but after that, Namco was never again able to make a game that matched the level of success as the original Pac-Man. But it's not like they didn't try. There are dozens and dozens of Pac-Man games that almost no one knows about. And today on Alpha Leaf Gaming, we are looking at one such game, Pac-Man World 2. Hello and welcome to Alpha Leaf Gaming, where I put my heart and soul into making more of unexpected quality videos that no one's ever gonna see. And for this video, I decided to try something a little different from my usual content. Something ambitious. I am going to make a video review of a game like most other YouTubers. The game I'm going to review today is one of the most underrated games of all time, Pac-Man World 2. After the success of the original Pac-Man, Namco tried making game after game to try to match the success of the original game, but to no avail. One of Namco's best attempts, however, was the Pac-Man World franchise. Pac-Man World 2 came out on the PS2, Xbox, GameCube, PC, and it even had this weird port on a GBA, but it's so different I wouldn't even count it as the same game. Pac-Man World 2 is one of my most nostalgic games of all time. Back when I was younger, my aunt and uncle used to have a GameCube and a copy of Pac-Man World 2. I have tons of great memories of me, my cousin, and my uncle playing this game. But with that long intro out of the way, let's actually play the game. The game starts off with this animated cutscene with voice acting. It's alright, I guess, but I actually don't remember this being in the game for some odd reason. The story of the game is, back in medieval times, there's a powerful ghost named Spooky who was wreaking havoc on Pac-Man. So Wizard made golden fruit to act as a seal, and a knight named Sir Pac-a-Lot fought Spooky and sealed him under the tree in the center of Pac Village. But Pac-Man's arch enemies, Inky, Blinky, Pinky, and Clyde, stole the golden fruit from the tree and freed Spooky. Now, I'm just wondering, Spooky's been under there for what, 1,000 years? And until just now, no one ever tampered with the fruit? I mean, I just can't believe that in all that time, some rogue teenager didn't try to steal the fruit and sell it on eBay. Also, if these people really believe Spooky was real and that he was sealed away under a tree, wouldn't they get some kind of security? A brick wall? How about some guards? But no, nothing. And we can see that at least Professor Pacman knew Spooky was real, and he probably could have convinced the townspeople to get some kind of security. But no, in my opinion, these people had it coming. But let's get back on track. Anyway, it's your job to get the golden fruit back from the ghost and steal Spooky back under the tree. So you start off in the first level of the game, Pac Village. In Pac Village, you can talk to villagers, play arcade games, and practice the mechanics of the game. You have your obvious moves like jumping, but you also have some unique attacks like your butt bounce, which you can use to attack enemies, break crates, or bounce on trampolines. And you have your rev roll, which you can use to stun enemies, roll up ramps, and move forward fast. But where this game excels in the most is collectibles. This game has lots and lots of things to collect. You have dots, cherries, strawberries, oranges, apples, melons, tokens which can be used to unlock arcade games in Pac Village, and Galaxians which let you play a maze level based on the original Pac-Man. Fruits, unfortunately, however, have no reward for collection whatsoever, but for some reason, it still feels somewhat rewarding when you collect them. Alright, now that we have the mechanics of the game, let's talk about some of the best things about the game. Positive 1. The game doesn't feel too gimmicky. Today, most games are made with the purpose of adding a new element above the game being good. Pacman World 2, however, doesn't have a whole lot of gimmicks. I mean, it has power-ups and that submarine, but that's pretty much it. Compare it to games today that always have some new features, some new character to sell the game, like the Robo Suit in Kirby Planet Robot, Funky Kong, and Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. These kinds of additions in new games can be nice, but game designers really need to focus on making a good game first, then focus on what new features they could add. Pacman World 2 is free from this problem, and it feels great just to play the game without having to worry about any other new gimmicks. Positive 2. The game has a lot of variety in level design. Like most games, Pacman World 2 has different themed levels. There's your generic starting grass-themed world, a forest-themed world, a snow-themed world, a volcano-themed world, an ocean-themed world, and a haunted island-themed world. Each world has its own things that set it apart. The forest is your basic start of the game area, the treetops have you climb trees and use those trampoline things, Snow Mountain has ice physics and these skates, the volcano has fire and instant kill lava, the ocean has swimming, and Ghost Island has puzzle-based levels. Having each world have different physics helps to keep the game fresh. Most games have world themes, and Pacman World 2 is no different. Positive 3. The arcade. In Pac Village, there is an arcade where you can play old Pacman arcade games. This is pretty cool, and it is a nice little way to waste your time. However, you do need to collect tokens to unlock arcade games. You can find tokens in different levels in the game. In total, you can play around 4 arcade games: Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, Pac-Attack, and Pac-Mania. There is also new maze levels based on the original Pac-Man, but in the style of Pacman World 2, and a jukebox which you can use to listen to the game's music. I honestly wish more games had features like this. The only game I can think of off the top of my head that did anything like this was Animal Crossing, which lets you play classic NES games. But now that companies can sell old classic arcade games on services like Xbox Live and Google Play, I doubt we'll ever see something like this return in the game. Okay, now we talked about some of the good things about the game, let's talk about a few downsides of the game. Negative 1. This game can be glitchy. Very glitchy. Okay, take a good, balanced, polished game like Super Mario World. Whenever you die, it's your fault for being bad at the game. There's no glitches, well, major glitches, no weird physics, and no unfairness. But in Pacman World 2, the physics can be really off at times. I can't tell you how many times I've died because of the stupid ledges in the volcano. Not only that, but the camera angle can be really glitchy, and you can accidentally fall to your death because you couldn't see the platforms well enough. Or you're supposed to butt bounce to defeat a boss and it doesn't work every time. It's so frustrating, it makes the game so much harder. Now, the main reason why this game has so many bugs in it is because of its budget. Namco couldn't afford to give this game as high as a budget as Nintendo could with Mario 64 occurring at the time, so it's guaranteed that a game like this would have some wacky physics at times. But I think it's great what they're able to pull off with such a low budget. Negative 2. The game is a little bit too short. This game is short. Really short. Which is weird because as a kid, this game felt so long. Well, that's probably because I was terrible at video games when I first played it, but that's beside the point. This game will take you at tops like 8 hours of gameplay to beat, and that's if you're taking your time. If you rush your way through the game, you can probably beat it in under 5 hours. Now, short games aren't bad, they're just short, and some games can actually be too long. I'm looking at you, Breath of the Wild. The reason why this game is short is the same reason why this game has so many glitches. The budget. It's only natural that game developers wouldn't be able to make as long as a game if they didn't have the funds. But I still wish the game was a little bit longer. But hold your tongue, because we are at the end of the game. It's time for a final boss, Spooky. It's time to beat the one person who I was never able to beat as a kid. Well, or even see, since I never made it to the final boss and I don't remember even seeing the cutscene, and I beat him for the first time when I first bought this game a couple years ago, but forget all that. It's time for the final showdown. We make our way past this frustrating boardwalk level, these creepy caves, and Ghost Bayou, one of the most frustrating levels in gaming history. Seriously though, you die so many times just because the level's too dark and you can't see the path. But anyway, let's fight Spooky. Spooky floats in the sky and he shoots meteors at you, and you have to wait for him to stay still while shooting a meteor and kick him in the face. After doing that 3 times, he moves on to his next form and he starts shooting fireballs. Hit him another 3 times and he throws everything he has at you. Okay, hit 1. Yes, dodge that. Hit 2. Phew, I'm still alive. Okay, it's time to banish you back beneath the tree, you childhood nightmare fuel. Okay, and, yes! Finally, it took me 10 years, but I finally beat him. Well, I mean, forget the fact that I beat it a couple of years ago. But Spooky is sealed away under a tree until Ghost decided to steal the fruit again. Oh, never mind. And that was Pacman World 2. Was it the best game ever made? No. Is it an underrated gem of a game? Yes. It's such a shame this game didn't get as much attention as it deserves. With its fun gameplay, fruit collecting, and classic arcade games, it only makes me wonder why this game didn't do as well as it should have. But if you want to check out the game for yourself, I have good news for you. The game is easily accessible and fairly cheap and will cost you around $10. There is, however, a third game in the Pacman World franchise, and not to mention the first one I skipped over. And someday, if I get a chance, I might review it. But if you like videos like these, be sure to subscribe and hit that like button. Or dislike button, because I like critical feedback as long as it helps me improve. Anyway, this is Josh from Alpha Leaf Gaming.